No matter what time they go to bed, does your child wake up at a ridiculously early hour every single morning? When the wake up time stays remarkably consistent, that's a clue. Your child's body may not be waking because they've had enough sleep. Their internal clock may simply believe this is morning. Hi, I'm Diane Luzme. I help moms of autistic children who've already tried everything to improve their child's sleep using practical, science based strategies that don't rely on adding medication, expensive products, or adding more stress to your family. In the last video, we looked at the timing of bedtime, and one of the clues I asked you to notice was when bedtime changes, does wake up time change with it? If it doesn't, if your child keeps waking up at almost the same time, that gives us another possibility to investigate their circadian rhythm, their body clock. Today, I want to show you what that actually means and, more importantly, something practical you can try if your child's body seems convinced that 4:30 a.m. is morning and it's time to start the day. Remember our motto, one clue at a time, one change at a time. So let's investigate this clue. Point 1. Why does the same wake up time matter? Every one of us has an internal body clock. You have one, I have one, your child has one. And that clock helps organize much more than just sleep and awake. It helps coordinate when we are more alert, which is good for learning, and when we are sleepy, along with many other internal functions that change across the day and night. But here's the important part for early waking. Your child's body clock doesn't know that the microwave says it's 4:30. It has no idea what time morning should be. It has to figure out where it is in the 24-hour day from information it receives over and over again. The strongest information comes from light and darkness, which makes sense. Regular patterns such as meal, activities, and daily routines can also help reinforce what part of the day it is. Over time, the body gets very good at predicting what comes next. That's useful when the body's timing fits your family schedule. It's not so useful when your child's body seems convinced that morning begins several hours before your morning actually does. And that's why consistency matters. Suppose your child goes to sleep at 7:30 and wakes up at 4:30. You move bedtime to 8 o'clock. Still 4:30. You try 8:30. Still 4:30. You try putting your child to bed earlier. Still 4:30. That's different from a child who tends to wake up after an approximate same number of hours of sleep. It doesn't prove the body clock is responsible, but it certainly moves it up higher in our list of clues. So ask yourself, does my child's wake up time seem to be based on the number of hours of sleep or at a consistent time in the morning? Point 2. How could 4:30 a.m. become morning? I don't have a clear answer for this, but this is what I do know. Your child's body clock can be very consistent without being in sync with what the clock on the wall says or the schedule of your family's needs. And there are lots of ways that it can happen. Maybe it began during the summer when the bedroom started getting incredibly light, incredibly early. Maybe your family's schedule changed. Maybe your child went through a period when they woke at 4:30 for a completely different reason, like a neighbor leaving early for work. And eventually, the original reason disappeared, but the 4:30 wake up didn't. Maybe it was something biological. We've all heard of babies and others of us who get their days and nights mixed up. Maybe it's something internal for your child, a full bladder or gastric issues. And add to it, the body is very good at learning from repetition. Think about people who regularly wake up a few minutes before their alarm. They aren't looking at the clock while they are asleep. Their body has learned to anticipate the timing. Your child's body can learn timing too. And now we have to think about what happens after your child wakes. Because there's a difference between my child is awake and the morning has begun. What happens after your child wakes up? Anything that would reinforce that it's morning? Anything that would help the body or the mind to believe night is over, the day has started. If we're trying to move morning later, that's the message we want to think about next. Point 3, put your home into night mode. Think about the night mode on your phone or your computer. At a certain time, the screen changes to a warm hue that lasts until the morning. You can do something similar with your home. Have specific activities that relate to your night mode. And I don't mean only after your child wakes early. I think it should start in the evening. Establish a routine for evening night mode and maintain it in the morning until a more appropriate morning time. Then, if your child wakes too early, they wake to night mode. Being in night mode doesn't mean ignoring your child. It doesn't mean forcing them to lie in bed awake. And it doesn't mean stumbling around in the dark. It means that, as much as is practical and safe, make 4:30 still look and feel like nighttime. And that's 4:30 a.m. And then comes the part that's just as important. At the time you've decided morning begins, change the energy and the message you're giving out. There's an energy. The house comes to life. You are creating contrast. Before this time, still night. After this time, now it's morning. That information the body clock can use. And if you live somewhere like I do, where summer sunrise and winter sunrise can be hours apart, you may have to create some of that consistency yourself. What you can do. If you think your child's body clock may be contributing to early waking, here's the experiment I want you to try. Think about the senses and how you can create a contrast between day and night mode. Have night mode start an hour or so before the bedtime routine and keep it until morning. Make a plan that can become part of your lifestyle. In the evening, close the curtains or blinds. Turn off overhead lights and bright lights. Use lamps instead. Keep them dimmer if you can. Pay particular attention to the bathroom. Bathroom lighting is often incredibly bright and incredibly white with lots of reflective surfaces. At bedtime or at 4:30 in the morning, you may only need to use enough light to keep the bathroom safe. A night light, a low motion activated light, or even one of those little toilet lights may be enough. If your child wakes before your chosen morning time, keep night mode going. Meet their needs, keep them safe, comfort them if they need comfort, but keep the environment dim and relatively quiet. Curtains stay closed, overhead lights stay off, lighting stays dim. If your child needs something to do, have a few calm activities available. Part of the goal is to make this easy for you, both in the evening and at 4:30 a.m. when it would be difficult to maintain the energy to make thoughtful night mode decisions. Then, when your chosen morning time arrives, make the transition obvious, a definite good morning. Curtains open when appropriate. Lights flip on. Breakfast and normal activities begin. Give the body and the mind a clear distinction between nighttime and daytime, and then repeat it. Make it your default. Do it for several days before deciding whether or not it helped with your child's early wakening. And to be honest, it's a good habit for the entire family. So implementing it is actually a win for all. But the transition might not be smooth. There could be days where your child is more clingy, hyper, withdrawn. There may be more meltdowns. Let me help you with that. That's why I created my free parent guide. It helps you recognize 5 different nervous system states and gives you practical ideas that will help you in the moment. This isn't just for bedtime or at 4:30 a.m. It's good for nighttime, daytime, and all time in between. You'll find the link below. But what happens if your child wakes at 4:30 every morning without their body clock being the reason they woke up? Something else could be happening at 2:30 or 4:30, whenever it is. What if something was interrupting their sleep? Something maybe in the room or something happening in their body? That's the clue we're investigating next. See you there. Sleep better, shine brighter.